Yo, what is up guys? Del Boy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So Oleksandr Usyk wins a unanimous decision over Dereck Chisora. So Oleksandr Usyk remains the WBO mandatory challenger. Now what did we make of Usyk's performance? I'm not sure what the reaction is to this fight and the performance of Oleksandr Usyk, but all in all, I felt Usyk passed the test, and in certain rounds I felt he looked very good. He weathered the early storm by Dereck Chisora, he took some big shots early on to body and head, and I felt he took these shots quite well. In my opinion, he showed a good chin and some good durability, so that was good to see. And yeah, he handled the physicality of Chisora early on, weathered the storm, got in his rhythm, and started boxing Chisora up. The first two rounds were actually quite hard for Usyk. Chisora came in, really moving forwards quickly, trying to close the distance and really get on top of Usyk, smother him, swarm him. He was working in the clinch, he landed some good body work, some good overhand rights and lefts. And yeah, the first two rounds, he really had Usyk backpedaling, and Usyk did look uncomfortable, it has to be said. In the first two rounds, I felt Chisora got away with quite a lot, and he got away with a lot in this fight in regards to fouling, hitting low, hitting behind the head, holding and hitting. Like, Chisora was doing this all night, and it definitely made Usyk uncomfortable early on, but he adjusted, he got used to it, and he took over the fight, I would say round 3 onwards, to be honest. Dereck Chisora put a lot into the first 3 rounds, he really came out like a bat out of hell. And while he was landing shots to body and head, he was also missing wildly at times. And when you load up like Chisora was doing, and missing badly, that really takes it out of you in a 12-round fight. I was saying that on Twitter, I felt Chisora started really well, but the fact he's missing so wildly at times could come back and haunt him. And I think that's the case in this fight. After the 3rd round, Chisora could never really sustain that same sort of pressure, to be honest. And as a result, Usyk just started to box round him. As the rounds went on, Usyk got more comfortable and confident, and he started picking up his punch output, landing the jab, landing the straight left hand, the check right hook as Chisora was coming in. He would step around Chisora, land a left hook to the face, the straight left to the body as well, I felt was slowing down Chisora. Chisora actually got hurt to the body, I believe in round 4 or 5, a good straight left to the body, and yeah, to me, in this fight, despite Chisora landing some real heavy-looking shots, it was Chisora who was more hurt than Usyk. There were several occasions in this fight when Usyk caught Chisora coming in with like a straight left hand or a right hook, and it stunned Chisora, stopped him in his tracks, but Usyk never really jumped on Chisora when he was stunned. He was playing it safe, you know, keeping distance, and making sure Chisora wasn't going to catch him with something big. And yeah, man, I felt after round 3, Usyk really was in control. Especially rounds 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, I believe. In those rounds, Usyk was moving really well, stepping around Dereck like I said, walking him into shots, peppering him with the jab, and basically just outpointing him and slowly dissecting Chisora. I have to say, in rounds 8 and 9, Chisora really was slowing down, and it almost looked like he could get stopped in this fight. Because like I said, his output was just dropping, he was getting more and more tired, and he was walking into shots. But to be fair to Chisora, the last sort of 2-3 rounds, he did actually try to up the pace, and he landed some good shots here and there, tried to go down to the body. He actually landed some good body shots in the late rounds, but it wasn't enough for me to win those rounds. He was attacking in bursts, and basically the rest of the round, Usyk was boxing around him, using the jab, using that straight left hand, and he was outscoring Chisora. So, yeah, all in all, I picked Usyk by unanimous decision. I felt it was unlikely that he would stop Chisora, and yeah, that's what happened. But I will say, I do believe that Usyk, if he pushed it, there was a few occasions where I believe he could have actually maybe forced a stoppage, because there was times when Chisora was buzzed and he really wasn't defending himself all that well. So yeah, the only real criticism for me would be that Usyk, I would have liked to have seen him a bit more adventurous when Chisora was hurt, but that is what it is. I understand why he didn't want to risk it against a big guy like Dereck. But yeah, all in all, for me, I felt it was a relatively good performance by Oleksandr Usyk. Not perfect, there was a few moments here and there that Chisora had, but Usyk clearly won the fight. And in certain rounds, I felt he looked great, to be honest. And I think some people are going to say, well, he never knocked out Chisora. He got caught with some big shots. He's too small for heavyweight. Well, there's not many fighters in the heavyweight division like Dereck Chisora who carry that sort of style, that rough and rugged pressure style. Not many guys in the heavyweight division have that style, so yeah, I wouldn't read too much into this. What I will say, Usyk showed pretty good stamina. He showed he can take a heavyweight punch against a big guy, and he certainly proved he could hurt Chisora. So all in all, I felt this was a pretty good performance by Oleksandr Usyk. Now, I'm not saying that Usyk becomes a heavyweight champion or anything like that, but what I am saying is that Oleksandr Usyk is dangerous for any heavyweight in the top 10, you know? I mean, for example, Dillian Whyte was a guy who was getting all of his hype, and Oleksandr Usyk did a better job on Dereck Chisora than Dillian Whyte did. But a lot of people were saying Dillian Whyte would knock out Deontay Wilder, he would beat Anthony Joshua in a rematch. A lot of people were saying this, right? But he went life and death with Chisora twice. I wouldn't say Usyk went life and death with Chisora. Yeah, it was competitive in a few rounds, but Usyk was the clear winner. There was no doubt in this fight who won. And in my opinion, Usyk performed relatively well. And also bear in mind, he had to contend with the officiating in this fight. Chisora got away with a lot in this fight. A lot of fouls, a lot of low blows, hitting behind the head, hitting and holding. Chisora got away with a lot in this fight. And Usyk contended with it, dealt with it, and won the fight. So all in all, good performance by Oleksandr Usyk. If I were to grade it, maybe a B+, something like that. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens next with Usyk in regards to the WBO situation. Will Oleksandr Usyk force that situation and become mandatory, and even if it means fighting for a vacant title? Or will he take step aside and wait for the winner of Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua? Gonna be interesting to see what happens in regards to that WBO situation. Maybe after this performance, Anthony Joshua might take this fight. I've got a feeling that a lot of the reception to this performance by Usyk is going to be negative. I've got that feeling, but yeah, me personally, I felt Usyk performed fairly well in this fight. And yeah, be interested to hear your thoughts on this bout. How impressed were you with Oleksandr Usyk? Do you believe he could have done better? How did you rate his performance? And yeah, where does he go from here? As for Dereck Chisora, by the way, where does he go from here? I mean, given the nature of Dereck Chisora, his character, what his career has been like, people are always going to want to see this guy fight. So he can come again. Essentially, he could be used as like a high-level gatekeeper. I wouldn't mind seeing him fight someone like Filip Hrgovic, for example. I think that would be a good fight. Who knows, if Dillian Whyte loses again to Povetkin, maybe Whyte Chisora 3, maybe that could happen. So yeah, I think Chisora can stick around for another fight or two. He's a tough dude, durable guy, always comes to fight. And yeah, man, I do like Chisora. He put in a good effort, but ultimately it wasn't enough in this fight. Anyway, share your thoughts below. It's Beanie Guy Delboy. Peace.